All right.
I mean, I'm always looking good.
Oh wow. Somebody's feeling themselves tonight. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you're always looking good.
All right. Let me. I usually try to start this thing with a horn. Okay. We ready to roll, guys?
Yep.
All right, what is up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Dad's Life Podcast. My name is Sean Flac 2.0, and in the studio via satellite with me today, or should I say this evening, we're going to start over that way. Oh, I pointed in the correct direction. Mr. Krinlee. Mr. Krinlee's over here to my left. What's up, Mr. Krinlee?
Going on?
Man, it's another beautiful night. Actually, you see we're down one, so actually Sensei Jon is not like under, he's like in this middle section that's down here. So Sensei, what's up, man?
What it do, what it is, man. You know how we do it, man. In the absence of one, we gonna still hold it together.
Oh, for sure, for sure. All right, you know what? Welcome to the episode, this week's episode. We're actually kind of caught up a little bit, so yeah, we're doing pretty good. Let's see here what we got. It's Sensei's ticker back there. What is that? 393 million for that Mega Million. What is that?
No,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Oh, for sure.
And it give you the numbers.
Okay. Oh man, there we go. All right. Today's topic, we're actually going to be taking a look at an article that came across that I felt dealt with parenting. Kind of edited through the fellas and kind of did a little homework with it and just read the article. Want to share our opinions about it. The article, before we get started, so you guys know, it's an article out of Maryland. Some Maryland parents. It says, you keep saying Maryland, Maine, but it says Maryland in the article.
Was it Maryland?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Oh yeah, my bad. I said Maine.
But courts reject parents' attempt to opt kids out of LGBTQ inclusive reading assignments. This is by News Nation. I don't necessarily know if this news outlet is slanted in one direction or another, so I can't speak on that. But we shared the article around. It has to do with some of the issues we deal with parenting. We also have school-age children, so we have a little skin in the game. So I think it's a good topic to express our opinions about, and, you know, just kind of share this with you and get some input from you guys as the listeners, and to let us know what you guys think about it. Before we get started, Krinlee, what do we got to do? What do we got to do?
We got to do what's in your cup. And for me, as always, it's the Voodoo Ranger.
Oh, the Voodoo Ranger.
Dropping sports. It's a little shorter than usual, but that's because I got a six-pack and not a... I didn't... Yeah.
Yeah, he got plenty he got plenty to go through.
I got more than one.
Wow. Double fisted. Hey, Sensei, you see how he just jumped into it, though? You see, he didn't even wait. He was like, I'm jumping into it. Okay, we see you, Mr. Krinlee.
Krinlee on point.
Right. Okay, well, I might as well go next. I actually am a little on the tired side, so this is actually water with electrolytes in it. It's called Appletini. So, you know, the Moody Mermaid was like, just tell him it's just an Appletini, you know, so it could be cool. Like, I'm tired. I've been.
Hey, it ain't gotta be cool, man.
It's cold. It has ice in it for sure.
That's what counts.
Right. But yeah, I'm sipping on some electrolytes.
I think I should have some water up here too.
Sensei, what's in your cup, brother?
But now,
you know, same old. You know, we're going rocking with the tequila, with the Heredra. Añejo. You know, and I took Moody Mermaid's advice, you know, but I didn't get the diet, but it's caffeine free. I got a little squirt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go along with it, and it's a good mix.
Okay. Of course, not sponsored yet. Not sponsored, but Heredora, if you're looking to sponsor some cats, you know what I'm saying? You might want to holler at us.
Yeah, because we union brothers.
Right. Oh, that's
a Voodoo Ranger. I mean,
you're right. And that is actually one thing we did find out. The Heredora is union made. So, you know, shout out to Union Proud. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we get started, you always got to do some quick shout outs. So obviously, head over to shadowpackwest.com. I want to say thank you for those patrons. Head over to shadowpackwest.com and you could subscribe. There's a link there on the website where you could head over to our Patreon page and subscribe for as little as $1 a month. I want to say a big shout out to all those patrons that are out there that are currently supporting us now. And as a matter of fact, we have a new subscriber. And I just want to say, you know what? Self-promotion and it's not a bad thing. Like investing into oneself is not a bad thing. So I want to say thank you, Sensei Jon, for being our latest Patreon to the Patreon page. So I'm going to go ahead and give him the horns.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir. You know, I was like, you know what? I need to get on there and do my thing, man, because I gotta support myself and my brothers.
Right.
You know, so yeah, I was like, ooh, and I was like, let me do the top tier, bro, you know.
And we appreciate that. We appreciate that. So again, for yourself, I want to say thank you to all our subscribers out there. If you're interested in subscribing, head over to the website, shadowpackwest.com. You'll see the link to our Patreon page, and you can subscribe as little as $1 a month. And that basically gets you 2 episodes a week because we do our After Dark show. Had a really good couple of After Dark shows already posted up. I think you guys would be very interested in those. And we'll put more information about those, kind of entice you to see what you're getting into.
Last week, I think the After Dark was actually probably longer, or at least as long as the regular show.
It was. It was a full 50 minutes. Yeah. Okay, so again, head on over there. Krinlee, you got any shout-outs you want to add before we get started on our topic this evening?
I'm going to shout out NjordGod because he's not here tonight, obviously, but he is having to do family stuff because he's a dad, and that's what he's got to do.
Yep, shout out to NjordGod. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And of course, Sensei, I already know what your shout out is going to be, but holla at us.
Man, to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who's the head of my life, and to my beautiful wife, because I love her.
Man, that almost sounds like a rhyme right here. Yeah, and amen to both. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, we good?
I think we good. It's time to head on into our topic, Sean.
Okay, let me transition over to something real quick. Currently, go to traffic. Sorry about that.
So, I was gonna say I've been hearing a lot on YouTube here lately about like specific NBA players being like playoff whatever their name is. So what's going on with that? I figured Sensei might have some insight to that. Like players being the playoff version of that player.
What was it? It was what is his name from the Celtics? Oh God, I can't even think of his name. Dang, right now.
I don't remember specific names, but there was more than one. I've seen 2 of them at least.
Well, tell me what you mean, because I haven't really like
Because like there's the NBA player, and they're like, oh, there's this person, but then there's the playoff person.
Oh, and he was like, oh, that's not. It's a commercial, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, that's not.
That's not a thing.
That's not a thing. You know.
So
what I mean?
What's up with that? What's going on with that? I know it's a commercial, but
you know what? I haven't looked into it. I don't actually know. It was Jason Tatum. That was.
Tatum was one of them. Yeah, for sure.
Tatum. Yeah, and I don't know exactly who. You know, I don't even know. I haven't followed up on the commercial. That's a good question.
Because Chris Rock has been doing like the voiceover in the for the commentator.
That's funny. I didn't even know that.
I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. I can't confirm that, but that's who it sounds like.
Hey, it probably is him.
I thought it was interesting because I was curious about it, and I figured you might have a little more information on it.
Yeah, I wish I did.
Okay.
I wish I did.
So,
I don't know. Well,
how about this Drake and Kendrick Lamar disc going on? You got any more information on that?
Man, did you see Drake's security guard got shot at his house? Excuse me.
I didn't see that.
Whoa.
Wow. Ooh, that sucks.
Yeah, and he put his $88 million home up for sale up in L.A.
The last thing I saw was Kendrick Lamar put out a song called "Not Like Us."
Oh man, that song is slapping, and it's not, and it's being used in the NBA.
Oh no, that ain't good.
And my wife just went to a Giants game, and they played it.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's
And
rough.
so LA Dodgers, because she went to the Dodgers LA game. I mean Dodgers LA game, Dodgers Giants game.
Okay.
And with her pops, and this past week, and they had a good time. And I was like, when she came home, I was like, did they play Kendrick? She was like, you know they did. I was like, hey, I think it's over. Everything is over, bro. Like, Drake lost. He lost another one. It's done.
It's gonna be a compilation mixtape that I could buy that has all of them on there, right? All the songs on there.
I mean, they're on Apple Music right
No,
now.
I'm just saying. To me, that's what they were making was a compilation album. Right. We just gonna
Just trying to make some money off of it. But like,
well, I think Kendrick's gonna put it out on his album when he finally releases the album.
Okay.
He's got like what, 5 or 6 songs.
so what started all this? Do you know?
It's been in the making for about 10 years now.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know the beef went that deep. No
Yeah,
Diddy.
it's been something. The beef. And speaking of Diddy,
Oh man. Your boy.
Oh no.
but no,
Take that,
it's
take
been
that.
one of those. It's been one of those things that behind closed doors, I guess they had a little something going on, and Kendrick was finally like just ready to just release something, and he did. He just started it off. And it's crazy because I guess they're both kind of signed to Universal under some kind of deal. And Universal now, since the pedophile stuff came out about Drake or whatever, or Kendrick
what?
is...
Yeah, because what was that one girl that he was texting back and forth with?
Yeah, and following high
missed
school
that.
girls on Instagram and stuff like that. Or DMing. Yeah, so... Kendrick, once he made that, they're trying to like, all right, say like, that's enough. You guys need to stop because we need to recoup this money from both of y'all. Because they, Drake got a $400 million deal with them, Universal, and they already paid him, and they need to recoup this money. And he's still getting a whole lot of money. I'm sure he didn't sign his life away for $400 million.
Right.
So
I don't know, man. 400 million.
I'm just saying, I'm sure like it's like a 70-30 deal.
Right.
To where he hasn't finished paying off everything, or and with Kendrick doing this to him, I mean, people was like, you better go back to, what is it, Marvin's Room?
Is that the little show he was on?
No, that was Degrassi.
No,
Okay.
but it's a song, it's on a what is it called? Melvin or Marvin. Yeah, Marvin's Room song Drake. He better go back to that type of Drake where you singing to the women and stop, try to
Go back to Young Money.
And talking about how he got hitters and killers and stuff like that. He better go back to that guy.
Yeah, you gotta go back to the serenading women Drake instead of this keyboard thug Drake.
You know what I mean?
Right.
The Canadian, go back to Canadian Drake, man. Yeah, America Drake, it ain't working out for you.
Right. And then, I could see how how they would tell him to stop because, now you're losing face. And now we might not be able to bank on any future IPs that you drop because you done lost so much cred.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly. And
See, and that's why I asked, because I didn't know, 100% of that I had no info into, so thank you.
No, it runs deep with, and it's funny because I seen something with Lil Wayne that came out about 10 years ago, and he was telling them, hey man, don't try and come and do what I do. You know what I mean? You need to
Stay in your lane.
Canadian.
Yeah.
Stay in your lane and be Canadian.
Right.
You know, talk to the women.
I mean, and that's the thing. Lil Wayne don't tell him nowadays. He's like, don't do what I do. You need to do what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's what's going to make you you. I mean,
yeah.
But,
and that's what it made. I mean, that's what the women love. They love Drake. Drake sing rap. You know.
Right.
So yeah, that's and then we gotta go into No Diddy.
Oh man, yo boy.
You know?
Yo boy.
man.
So did that video? It happened in 2016 though. That's why he.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know Krinlee, but I guess a video came out with him running down the hallway with a towel on, chasing the old girl down.
Hey,
go ahead.
Hey, they say he looked like a wrestler coming out the tunnel, running down the hall.
That's fucked up.
He looked like a wrestler.
Oh my god! I had read. Somebody had said they were like, "Yeah, that's not Diddy," because if it was really Diddy, he wouldn't have ran out with a towel on. He'd have came out butt ass naked.
Butt ass naked. In one of them freak offs he was in.
Right.
Oof.
Yeah,
But
man.
yeah. And then he commenced to whooping her ass, and that was wrong.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, just putting your hands on anybody like that in any way, shape, or form. But I think that was the reason why he.
Yourself.
Yeah, is that the reason why he settled right away once the allegations came out with her?
He should have settled behind the scenes, but we wouldn't have never seen this.
Oh yeah.
But this is just, you know what? She might be working with the feds.
Hey, you know.
I mean,
like I don't know all the details on it, but if she was feeling the way she was, how she was feeling intimidated, and he was the biggest thing, whatever, and she felt she couldn't get out from under him if she wanted to be successful. I mean, that happens every day.
I don't know who he pissed off. He pissed somebody the fuck off.
Oh yeah.
He pissed some big wigs off.
You know what though? Sometimes I think these cats be signing contracts, and that contract came up. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like, oh, you're gonna be good for the next 20 years, but after 20 years, we calling in a chip, and if you don't deliver, oh yeah, we gonna tear, your whole empire is coming down.
And then he tried to do that thing with that liquor company. He tried to, say,
Ciroc?
No, not Ciroc. De Leon. He tried to sue him. Remember?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't remember that one.
Oh yeah, he tried to sue him for basically, I believe it was like discrimination. It was this whole thing about him being black and how black people can't get
get into
can't
the business,
own one of these companies, and all this stuff, and he was winning the case though, and now he not.
Oh yeah.
He had to sell Revolt. He had to sell his shares in Revolt because he owned that. I mean, he was getting $50 million a year on some other shit. Like, I mean, all of his money has stopped. He has went cold turkey.
Oh, it went Kanye?
He should have stuck to what he was good at.
You know what? When Kanye went on Drink Champs, he was telling us. And it's funny because he was like, oh, Diddy working with the feds.
Well, you can't make this shit up.
He was an informant.
You can't.
I mean, I ain't got nothing bad to say about Kanye. That's all I got to say.
Okay. All right. Well,
he looked like Kanye starting to look. He over here looking like Jaws from 007. He got the little platinum grill. He got supposedly he got his teeth removed and titanium put in it. Oh, y'all didn't see that?
Nah, I don't follow the hip hop news like that, especially Kanye.
We got to get you to be able to pull some shit up on this thing. We're gonna work on that, chat.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna work on that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I thought I figured that out just now, but it just while we talk, it won't let us voice over it for right now. Anyway,
But he got titanium. He got his teeth removed, and he got a titanium. Man, look it up. I'm gonna send it to y'all.
Man, here we go. Titanium.
He got titanium. Grill. He got a whole titanium. His teeth is just straight. You remember how Jaws was in 007? What was that? Moonraker.
007. You talking about like in the 70s, 80s?
Yeah. With
Okay.
What's the dude's name? Oh man, I can't even think right now.
That was what was his name? The good one.
Yeah, his name was Jaws. He was a fictional character. He played in The Spy Who Loved Me and Moonraker.
Yeah, okay, so I see it. Kanye's experimental dentistry, to say the least. Entirely by Ye. The source, the implants are experimental.
Oh, so he's got like a whole line of them.
Oh, I don't know about that. No.
He got his whole grill.
You said inspired by Ye. That sounds like a whole line, like where you could buy inspired by Ye.
Wow. I don't know, man. It says, were designed entirely by Ye with assistance of medical and dental experts, including Dr. Krinlee. Clarify, the singer did not... Oh, so they are sure to clarify that the singer did not have his teeth removed.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's a grill, apparently.
It's a grill, okay.
Yeah, it's not...
That's cool.
Who they said this name? The grill cost $850,000.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I know about that. Yeah, and they even talk about The Spy Who Loved Me and Moonraker. That's what he looked like.
Oh, okay.
That's cool.
Yep, that's what he looked like. Jaws. You remember Jaws?
But I mean, so
yeah.
From I haven't like researched it, but my opinion as far as Ye goes, and this is all I'm gonna say is like
Kanye West. His mama named Kanye. I'm gonna call him Kanye. No.
Okay, I won't argue with that either. But so I mean, I'm not buying air from his concert. I will say that, but.
That's a good
If you don't know, there was like bags of air from his concerts on sale on eBay for like thousands or more, millions of. Yeah, it was ridiculous. But I mean,
okay.
I think the guy has his own issues.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that is what it is. But outside of that, like do you, man?
What it is. That's for sure.
Okay, man. Okay, we done kind of went sideways on the show. We supposed to be talking about one thing, and
good.
you know what I'm saying?
We gonna get to the topic.
Right.
I thank you, Mr. Krinlee. That was good.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, we ready to get started on our main topic?
Yeah.
Man, the court rejects parents' attempt to opt out kids of LGBTQ exclusive reading assignments.
So inclusive reading assignments.
Oh, excuse me, inclusive reading assignments.
Right,
Look at me, I can't even read.
Man, we've been up for 27 hours, so I understand.
So what we gonna do? Read a little bit of this article?
Yeah. You got it pulled up? You want me to read it? I got it pulled up.
I got it pulled up.
Okay, why don't we take turns?
Okay. You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll take it. Okay. So again, guys, this is coming from News Nation. This is the article that we read it from. So let's see here. Sarah Fortinsky from The Hill. This is the article from there. So a federal appeals court rejected a bid from a group of Maryland parents to require the Montgomery County Public Schools to allow them to opt their children out of lessons that involve LGBTQ inclusive material. A divided three-judge panel of the 4th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals affirmed a lower court's decision, denying a preliminary injunction on the basis that the parents had not yet demonstrated how the county's Board of Education book policy would infringe on their right for free expression of religion. 3 sets of parents, who are Muslim, Jewish, and Christian, along with a parents' rights organization, sued the Maryland School District after it said it would no longer allow parents to opt their children out of lessons that used a slate of newly approved LGBTQ inclusive books. The parents argued that the books contradict their sincerely held religious beliefs about marriage, human sexuality, and gender, and that the lack of an opt-out policy violates their children's First Amendment right for free exercise of religion. The U.S. Court Judge G. Stevens, AG, I think that's how it's pronounced, AG, writing for the majority in the opinion, said that there was not enough evidence on record to assess how the books were being used in the classroom and therefore to assess the likeliness of the case succeeding. In quotes, is we take no view on whether the parents will be able to present the evidence sufficient to support any of their various theories once they have the opportunity to develop a record as the circumstances surrounding the board's decision and how the challenged texts are actually being used in schools. AG appointed by that was end quotes right there. And AG was appointed by former President George W. Bush.
Okay. At this early stage, however, given to the parents broad claims, the very high burden required to obtain a preliminary injunction, and the scant record before us, I don't know, we are constrained to affirm the district court's order denying the preliminary injunction. He continued in the opinion, which was joined by U.S. Circuit Judge DeAndrea Benjamin. DeAndrea?
DeAndrea, yeah.
An appointee of President Biden. So there's our second judge. U.S. Circuit Judge A. Marvin. This is our third judge. That's a hard name.
Quantelbaum.
Quantelbaum Jr., an appointee of former President Trump's dissented, arguing
yep.
The board violated parents' right to influence their children's religious upbringing. Eric Baxter, vice president and senior counsel at the Beckett Fund and Religious Liberty, which is representing the parents, pledged to appeal the ruling on Wednesday in an emailed statement to The Hill. Shall we read further?
Yeah. Let me just finish it out because I think it's almost done here.
Oh, okay. It's almost done. Oh, I got it. The court. I got it. The court just told thousands of Maryland parents they have to say in what their children they have a say. They have no say. Excuse me.
Okay.
In what their children are taught in public schools. Baxter said in this statement that runs contrary to the First Amendment, Maryland law, the school board's own policies, and basic human decency. Parents should have the right to receive notice and opt out their children, opt out of classroom material that violates their faith. We will appeal this ruling, he added. In August 2023, U.S. District Judge Deborah Boardman found that the parents were unlikely to succeed in the merits and denied their request to keep the policy in place while the case proceeds. She found that they failed to show that the lack of an opt-out policy would result in the indoctrination of their children or coerce their children to violate or change their religious beliefs. Or coerce, I'm sorry. The parents still may instruct their children on their religious beliefs regarding sexuality, marriage, and gender, and each family may place contrary views in its religious context, Boardman wrote in the order last year. No government action prevents the parents from freely discussing the topics raised in the storybooks with their children or teaching their children as they wish, she added. That's the end.
Okay. So for me, to sum it up as I was reading it, was basically there was a lower court that said that they didn't need an opt-out policy. And they obviously went up to the higher court, and they said they agreed with it. So you have the three judges in the higher court. One was, and again, when I was looking at the article, I was like, why are they telling us what president was appointed by which judge, or which president, appointed which judge? Mm-hmm. And so you have the one that was a Republican, which is George Bush. Other one was a Democrat. And then those were the ones that saying that no, we're gonna uphold the lower court's decision to not have an opt-out policy, and then the third one was a Trump appointee, and he was the one that said no. You're basically telling us that we don't have no control over what gets taught in public schools to our children. And so I thought that was an interesting point, little jab at each one there. But yeah, and to sum it up, they're saying that it infringes on their ability for oppression-free expression of their religion due to this. And the courts said that it wasn't. It didn't hinder it, so they didn't need an opt-out policy. Also, what I read from this, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, is that there was an opt-out policy, and then it got removed. So they were no longer getting any notices or any options to opt them out. So that's what I got as far as a summary overview of it. What did you guys get out of it? And get an understanding of it before we talk about our opinion of it. Did I summarize it well enough for us to go right into opinion, or did you guys have a different interpretation of what it said?
Yeah. Well, that last thing you said, I didn't see that. Well, I didn't get that. So, and it may have just been something that I missed. So, about where they had the option to opt out of it, but then it was removed.
Okay, that's what in the context that I read it, that's what, and if I was to reference this, let me see here.
Yeah, I'm trying to, that's, I remember.
And again, I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying I missed,
No.
If that's the case, I missed it, so.
Let's see here. Yeah, so August 23, Deborah Berm, found the parents were unlikely to succeed on their merits and denied their request to keep the policy in place while the case proceeded. Yep. So that's, yeah.
Right.
So they were like, there was one in place, and they were like, well, can we keep it in place until this gets to the courts? And that judge was like, no, we're not keeping that in place.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And so it's like they had it and then they got rid of it.
Right.
I agree with that.
Okay. So do we? As far as summary goes, was that a good summary, and then we could go right into opinion, or did you guys want to add something to the summary?
No,
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Krinlee, right. Oh, look at that. He's just jumping right into it. Okay, what you guys?
I will for sure, because and I agree in a small capacity with both sides. So, first of all, it's public school. Like, you send your kids to public school, there should be an understanding of what they're learning in public school. You shouldn't have necessarily a say in it. If you want a say in it, you will send your kid to private school. That's what private schools are for. Right? So, I get that, but at the same time, I feel like focusing on LGBTQ plus, because they didn't add that in there, but that's the kind of the thing now, right? It's LGBTQ plus. I don't think that should be a focus for the schools.
I need 4 seconds. English, you completely blanked out.
Okay, I think the focus for schools should be math, science, English, possibly a foreign language, depending on what age range. I don't think sexual orientation or even anything related to that should be something that should be discussed or focused on in school. Like, that's not why you're going to school. You're going to school to learn how to, you don't go to school to meet your future wife. You may meet your future wife at school. That's neither here nor there. But, like, that's not why you're at school. You're at school to learn. Like, anything extracurricular, it should go through the parents, and, you should work it out. But, like, you're going to school to learn, bottom line. Like, that shouldn't... what's there to learn in that topic, in my opinion? I mean, now treat everyone with respect. Like there's no, you shouldn't hate on anyone because of they believe something different or they feel something different. But that's not why you're at school. That's my opinion.
Okay.
You say you've seen it from both sides, so you got another side?
Well, that was the thing. Like, I mean, so you don't get to choose what your kids learn in private school. Like, that's already public school.
In public school. Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
You don't get to choose what your kids learn in public school, but at the same time, public schools shouldn't be focusing on something sexually oriented. That's not what you're at school to learn.
Okay. Sensei, was you up next?
I can be up next.
Okay. What you got?
I do understand what you're talking about, Krinlee. And it's funny because me and Flac had this conversation. And then my wife also joined the conversation. We had a really good conversation. It was short, but it was really good. And I felt I could see it from both sides. I could see it from a parental side saying, there should be an age where my kids should be able to learn about the LGBTQ, but also as a parent, in this article, it doesn't tell us what age group we're dealing with, or if it's from K through whatever. But we're also in this time of inclusiveness. So whatever they're teaching our kids, as long as it's not something that we need a permission slips, so when we learn about biology of the man and woman, you need a permission slip signed by, was it 5th grade, 6th grade or whatever?
Right.
I remember having to get one. And so building letting them know, because let me rephrase this, because people of the LGBTQ community, they exist, and it's being more so. I mean, I'm reading something here. The movement of the LGBTQ civil rights, or their rights, in the United States dates back to at least far back as the 1920s. So, if they're teaching about a movement that they're in, or just like black people when we had our civil rights movement, how about their civil rights as LGBTQ community? They're focusing on something like that. I have no issue with it because they are who they are, and it's not that they're different from us. They just have a different preference of sexuality, and they're still human. They're still, they still bleed. They still put their pants on just like us. They're just like us. So, we don't know the context of what they are being taught in school. So, I can see it from that point as well. But as black and white law of the land, judge putting down the hammer, and it sounds like in the article that they don't have, whoever is representing them didn't have enough evidence because they didn't come prepared to court. They didn't come with the evidence to be able to show the judge. And from the article, it says, well, we don't have any evidence that it will coerce or coerce your children into being, in this community or
indoctrination of their children.
It doesn't have any evidence.
And I just want to say real quick that I agree with the government on that one because they really didn't we're not trying to convince anybody of anything. We're just trying to teach them of something, and I get that, but yeah. So I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, I do understand about the sexuality part of it. That shouldn't be taught to our kids without our permission. And we do have they do send permission slips home. Let me see. I mean, no, when I went to school, I'm trying to think back to my teenager. Did I?
Right.
Did I get a permission slip?
That was a very long time ago, Sensei. Very long time ago.
Yeah. Did I get a permission slip sent home? I'm pretty sure I did.
You probably forged your signature anyway.
Yeah, probably learning about the human anatomy in the fifth or sixth grade. So if that comes up at that time, then yes. But it also in the article, at the end of the article, it talks about basically having conversations with your kids.
Right.
Those are but in talking with my wife, if you start opting out of certain things in education, then you're going to open up Pandora's box. So down in Texas and Florida, they're opting out of slavery, learning what slavery is in certain districts. They're able to, and it's not opting out. Excuse me, I used the wrong term. They're taking it out of libraries in the schools and in public libraries, and basically erasing the history of America and how this country was built. So if we give parents a chance to opt out, and I'm sure, the curriculum it doesn't come from just within the school district. It comes from the state and everything else, is what I've been told, because my wife works in education. And what I understand, what she told me, was the curriculum is thought out throughout the whole state, or throughout the counties and everything else, to where I'm sure, and I'm sure that they are not teaching our kids about what happens in a sexual manner with LGBTQ. Excuse me.
Okay. What was that? Your final thoughts on that?
Yeah. I think I'm done. I think yeah.
Okay, and we'll circle back. Yeah. Okay. So just regarding for me personally, when it comes to choice, I'm more for more choices than not. Right. So I feel that based upon the merits of this, and that's why I said it's News Nation. I don't know if they're slanted. I don't know if they're purposely leaving out certain bits of information to make us form an opinion. Heard of these people. So my first thing is I'm always going to go for more choices than not enough. And that just goes with anything, and what you're talking about back when we were teenagers, sex education. You had to have, but that was the biology of women and men, and you had to have, because you're going to talk about, your sex parts and all that stuff or whatever. So, but that was science, right? That's the science of how to make babies, right?
Right.
And I think with, and I always got to go back to what my dad told me, right? Is you surround no matter what, at the end of your life, sex doesn't matter, right? It's about surrounding yourself with people that make you happy. And I think within the messaging of the LGBTQ inclusive, they're not saying, hey, a woman's going to be with a woman sexually. It's about relationship building and being around people that make you happy, make you comfortable. Let that either be a man or a woman. Right now, that's a topic for a broader, a different discussion. But I feel that's the bigger, broader thing about inclusiveness. Like, it's not about the sexuality of the two people. It's more about who they choose to be comfortable and to be loved by, versus actually, the sexuality of a man and a woman, and a woman and a woman, and a man and a man. And I feel that representation is like the biggest thing. So it's like it's about representation, whatever diversity it is. Now, you talk about Pandora's box. Right, and this was years ago, but then somebody had pointed out, and maybe it was a religion, whatever, but they were saying that pedophilia is a form of sexuality, right? And that's Pandora's box, right? Yes, having sex with underage, or whatever the case is, immorally wrong, legally incorrect, yada 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 yada. But in the Bible, And in the olden times, they were married off when they were 13. So at what point do you draw, at what point do you make the what's it called? And let me just preface this. By no means do I think that pedophilia and all that stuff is acceptable by my standards. I'm just going to throw this out there. But, that's Pandora's box, though, right? This.
Like you said, where do you draw the line?
Yes, exactly. Where do you draw the line? And especially when they talk about religious beliefs and cultural beliefs, and when I was in college, I read a book called The Natural History of Love. And it was an English book that we read, and it talked about homosexuality amongst the Romans, homosexuality amongst, the Christian
Look
knights.
at Caligula.
Oh, yeah, Caligula. If y'all know what Caligula is, I'm saying, you can look that up. But homosexuality has been in, again, part of culture around the world for longer than it's been a fight for civil rights here in the United States and around the world.
Right.
So
biblical times in Sodom and Gomorrah.
Right. So, yeah. So, like I said, again, at what point do you draw that line? At what point does it? So, for America, for me, right, in America, right, I always believe that the freedom to choose is one of our greatest freedoms here in America. So if there's an option for me to choose, and especially when it comes to something I'm paying my tax dollars into, regardless of whatever the topic is, I would like to have more choice than not. Now, if there was an opt-out option, I personally wouldn't opt out for it. But I would, hey man, if there was a policy already in place, and this is why I pointed this out in the very beginning, why was it removed? Right? So that's my point on that. Like, if it's already there, let's just keep it there and let me have the option. And maybe with that option, I may be open. And again, I don't speak for these people. I'm speaking for myself. We live in California, NorCal, San Francisco Bay Area, where we are a little bit more progressive. So my view and what I've surrounded myself with is I'm more open to learn about different things that I don't feel that's morally incorrect. And again, I go back to my dad's teaching where he told me that, in the end, sex don't mean nothing. It's about surrounding yourself with good people to make you happy, whatever that looks like, And, my dad had a wife and a girlfriend at the same time. They knew each other.
My girl got a girl.
Right. So, and not to do a flex, but like it was more about it. When you get older in life, it's more about the relationships you build, and you should find that sooner, whatever that looks like. So to me, being inclusive and stuff like that, and the LGBTQ is not explicitly about sex,
Correct.
It's about love. They always talk about love. Now, well, I will say this. What is inferred in my reading of this, that if you're not for the inclusion of the message of love, then you automatically are pigeonholed into thinking you're going to be against it, right? That since I'm not being inclusive about a messaging of love, I'm actually more inclined to spew a message of hate or dissension, which I don't feel is also true either.
That's correct.
Right. Just because I don't want this in the curriculum for my children and that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to spew hate against it. And I think that is another message that is lost in this, because there are people that are just neutral. They want to stay in their own bubble. They don't want to be bothered with any of the extra stuff. And they're not saying that they're going to go ahead and, see somebody from the community and bust their head in. That's not the point. That's not what they're about. They're just not really open-minded to that type of living. And they weren't raised that way. They don't, they are, but they don't necessarily, just because you're indifferent about a subject, in my opinion, doesn't necessarily mean you're against the subject. And I don't think that is portrayed enough in this. So that's why I feel like it's a little slanted as to make us think that, they want this and they want that. And it's like, not necessarily. Some people just want to live their life. And that's why I love America. You had made a comment about us being Americans and Native American or whatever, but that's what I love about America, is that it gives us the option to live the life that we want.
Yep.
You know, however hard that is, however hard we want to make our life, however hard we want to, or how lax we don't, you know, we could be indifferent about stuff and it doesn't affect anybody else's ability to live the life that they want. And
home of the brave, land of the free.
Right. You know, so like I said, I thought it was a really good article, and I do agree with a bunch of guys' opinions on it. But I mean, I think there's some key pieces that are missing. That I think that
we don't know what the age group was. We don't know what the curriculum was. We don't, you know, and I would love to know that, to be able to make a really like informative decision on where I would stand. You know, because like I said, I can see it from both sides.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, because when it comes to the courts, like I was talking to my wife, Flac, they gonna go by the book. It's gonna be black and white. It ain't gonna be, you know, emotions tied to it or anything else. They gonna make the decision. You didn't have enough evidence to tell us what we needed to hear.
Right.
I'm done with you.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're Muslim, Iraqi, you know, Jewish. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Chinese.
And that's why I was on. That's why I said like I could see both sides of it.
Right. And I also think something we had talked about off camera was it really depends on where you stand in society, right? Like, you know, these folks are in Maryland, and you know, maybe
they got money.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So
they talk about suing. They got money. You're suing the district of the school district. You got some money,
right? So again, you know, that for me affirms my belief that you have to be open minded. Like you're in a society here in America where we have dirt dog poor and billionaire and everything in between. And here in America, everybody has to be heard. You know, that's the part of the freedom of speech, is everybody gets a voice. And so you have to hear it from this end and this end. And where you stand on this spectrum may influence the way you think about life. And, you know, like I said, I know I'll never be a billionaire in my lifetime. You know, my family may not be billionaire for like 3-4 generations. Or they may never. But that's where I stand in life. You know, and it's just like I have come to a realization that wherever I'm at, I'm surrounded by both ends. If I'm in the middle or more toward the lower end, if I'm working poor or whatever, we still live in a society that allows us to go from working poor to coming up with something that nobody else could make, and we could be billionaires. And that's why so many people flock here. And that's why I feel like this is a little bit closed-minded. The article is a little bit closed-minded because you have to. I think the biggest thing that your wife, and we got to come up with a nickname for her here on the stream when we talk about her. But she had basically
E-Class.
What is it?
Her name is E-Class.
E-Class, okay.
E-Class, okay.
So what she had said that was very prolific in my head, right? Which it just I say it's prolific in my head, and I'm like whoop, and it just left me. But she had said, oh my God. Yeah, she did. But she said, if you take stuff out here, if you take stuff out of the public, right? Just like kind of like what you said, it doesn't give your children the reality of it. Like your children, like their kids are coming out as, you know, LGBTQ as young as 5 years old, 6 years old. Mm-hmm. And, so it may be better to teach inclusiveness that young, because once they come across some of these kids that are coming out to be this, that they have some type of teaching. That's the reality of what it's not fake. This is what's happening. And Sensei, you said they're here. And yeah, I hate saying it like they're as in they're different.
Here, but they've been here. But it's just we are in this time to where everybody is included into society.
Right.
And we are to take note and to respect everybody that hasn't been respected in the past 100 years.
Right. And going back to what, E-Class was saying is that if you take that part of education out of public education. It doesn't give the people or the children, students, teenagers, whatever, a sense of what real reality is.
Right.
And to me, that was a very prolific thought process, because it was like, you're right. And I think to Krinlee's point, if you want to be in a bubble and you want full control over what you're, send them to private school.
Or homeschool them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's basically what the article looked like. Remember when we talked Flac? I said it sounds like they either want you to go to a different. They want you to homeschool your kids.
Right.
If you
don't that like or private school, yeah,
you can leave. It does,
Yeah.
Right.
This is what we gonna teach. I don't care what your taxes is paying, because these people that's trying to sue us, and you know what? We also don't know whether or not that they could have been teaching something different in the opt-in program, and now they're just going to generalize it. And so whether or not they generalize it, now you don't even have the choice to opt out. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So maybe they were going in depth. Maybe they were teaching it at a different school level, at a grade level at that point. There's a lot of questions that I have about this article, and a lot of questions that I have about, what age were the children, but it really doesn't matter, because when it comes to civil rights for human beings, it should be taught at any grade level, and whoever it is, whether it be black, white, Chinese. Remember she brought about the Japanese encampments that they don't even teach about. Yeah. They don't even teach about, and she was like, she didn't really get a grasp on it until she got into college.
Right.
And we don't learn about that in grade school or high school or anything else.
Right.
So, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be included in our history, and this is one of them to a certain grasp of whatever grade they're in. That's how I feel about it.
Right. No, and again, I totally agree with that. And then she had also talked about critical race theory, right? And that was something that wasn't even taught until you got into college classes, and then it turned into the boogeyman, right? For all the okay, we're going to teach this in grade school. No, that's not a grade school subject. But anyway, I want to say that I enjoyed our conversation. I'm not trying to cut anybody off, but we are coming to the end of our episode here. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Again, the different points of views. I would like for us to continue discussions like this in the future. So again, you guys as listeners or, watchers here on YouTube or listeners to the podcast, if you guys got something, article that you'd like us to check out and share our opinions on here, don't be afraid to, put that down in the comment section below. Yeah. And what is your thought? We're going to go ahead and leave a link to the actual article in the description below. So it'll be the first link in the description. Go ahead and check it out. Leave comments about what you think about it. Or if you have an update or have more insider information you'd like to share about the article, maybe you can answer some of the questions that Sensei Jon had. Go ahead and throw those in the comments as well. Let's see here. I guess we got to do end shout outs because we are at the end of the recording. So, again, want to say, great conversation, guys. Great conversation. Yeah. Let's see here. Krinlee, you got any closing statements you'd like to add before we get into the After Dark show?
I want to say thank you to both of you guys because, I had my opinions of the article we were going over, and you guys both opened up some ideas that I don't want to say I didn't think about, but that hadn't really resonated with me, but made sense as you guys explained them, and it was a lot more broad than how I had explained it whenever I was going through my opinion. But I also wanted to say shout out to not only NjordGod's daughter, who I hope is doing good right now, but his mother as well, who I hope is doing as well with her cancer treatments, and hoping everything is going well with that.
Yes.
And that's all I got.
Okay. Sensei, what you got for us? Little closing statements before we shut down the show.
Like, comment, subscribe. I want to hear you guys' feedback, please. This season season 5, so we're getting into a little bit of the weeds. We trying to cut them down. You know what I mean? We trying to cut down some shit in this I would appreciate if anybody could help us out, with whatever extra that maybe we're missing. Maybe you found some different article about the same thing, and that you can point us in some type of direction, because as fathers, we always want the best for our kids, and as parents, let me include the wife too. As parents, our wives, we want the best for our kids, and we want to be able to help them and rear them in the right direction. That not only that we want them to go, but what is the best for them,
and for them around them.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. All right. Like I said, you guys summed it up. I just want to say it was a really good article. It was a very good discussion. I appreciate all of your guys' insight on it. And like I said, you guys opened I was the last one to go, but again, you guys have opened up a lot of different. Okay. And for me, I always want to be about more freedom of choice. That's no matter what the subject is.
Well,
but there also has to be other considerations that I don't see that that in the society that we're in and the opportunity that the country that we live in gives us, we have to take into consideration everything. It can't be one-sided, because if it was to be one-sided, it would be technically like a third world country. You can't have this point of view because it goes against ours. Then we'd be living in a different country. So that's why I like hearing different people's opinions about it. So I'm glad we're able to bring this up. My big thing is it's about parenting in our society. And do we have more choice, less choice, issues that we may run into? And like I said, all of us have skin in the game. So we have to pay attention to these things so that we could prepare ourselves and prepare our children. Because, it's happening across the country right now for us, and halfway across the country for you, Mr. Krinlee. But it could be at our doorstep without us knowing. And if we're not prepared and keeping our eyes open for things that are like this, we may get blindsided. And the best way we could do, like what you said, to raise our children, to rear them in the correct direction and help them with their surroundings, is being abreast about what's going on nationwide. So that's all I got for that. All right, so that's going to bring us to the end of our episode. If you guys have any questions, comments, emotional outbursts for myself or anybody here on the Dad's Life podcast, you can head over to shadowpackwest.com. While you're over there, you can go ahead and hit that Patreon link. We are going to be getting right into our After Dark special here for all our patrons. So you can sign up for your patronage today as little as $1 a month. I want to say thank you again for our latest patron. So we'll give him the horn. Sensei Jon in the house. We appreciate your patronage. And that's about it. So, like I said, thank you for tuning into this week's episode of the Dad's Life podcast, and hope you guys tune into next week, where you can get your Dad Life, Dad
Nice.
Yada that mean.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Peace out, guys.
Peace.